On April 8, 1943, high above the skies of occupied France, Oberleutnant Ralph Hermican of the Luftwaffe was laughing. His eyes scanned the sky, watching what he thought were slow, clumsy American Thunderbolts, flying milk bottles, he called them, as they lumbered upwards. Their massive, heavy frames seemed a joke to a man used to the agile, sleek fighters of the German Luftwaffe. But what Hermican didn't realize, what no German pilot could imagine, was that these milk bottles were about to change the course of the war. The Republic P47 Thunderbolt was more than a fighter. It was an industrial beast. Built for brute force, this aircraft could take more hits than any other and still bring its pilot home. The Thunderbolt's massive radial engine produced a relentless stream of firepower, and it would soon become the most feared sound in the German skies. When Major Donald Bally, a former RAF pilot, saw the German formation above him, he knew something his men didn't. To survive in these skies, they'd have to forget everything they thought they knew about aerial combat. The P-47 wasn't built for agility. It was built for strength, firepower, and endurance. For the first few months, the Thunderbolt was mocked by the Germans. It couldn't climb fast, it couldn't turn well, and it seemed slow compared to their Messerschmitts and Focke-Wulfs. But something strange was happening. The P-47s took punishment like no other aircraft, shrugging off hits that would have torn apart a Spitfire or Messerschmitt. And when the American pilots got their guns on target, the results were catastrophic. In May 1943, Lieutenant Robert Johnson's Thunderbolt was shot to pieces by the Luftwaffe, but it kept flying, despite cannon shells tearing through it, despite fire erupting in his cockpit. It was one of the most extraordinary moments in aerial combat. And when a German fighter pilot pursued him, firing everything he had, the Thunderbolt still flew. It absorbed the damage, took the hits, and limped home. That moment, Johnson's survival was a wake-up call. The Thunderbolt wasn't just a big, heavy fighter, it was a monster of engineering, capable of withstanding unbelievable damage and still fighting back. By July 1943, American pilots were learning how to exploit its strengths. No longer outmatched, they began to outmaneuver the Luftwaffe using the boom and zoom tactic, diving from high altitude and attacking at speeds that German fighters couldn't match. In just a few short months, the Thunderbolt evolved from a laughable oddity into a terror of the skies. By June 1944, over Normandy, the P-47 provided a lethal cover for the D-Day invasion. Their heavy machine guns shredded German fighters from miles away, and their firepower was a psychological weapon that turned the skies into a deadly battlefield for the Luftwaffe. As the war raged on, German pilots came to fear the sound of those engines. What had once been derided as flying pigs was now a symbol of American industrial might and firepower. By the end of the war, the Thunderbolt wasn't just feared, it was unbeatable. From the early days of ridicule to becoming the most feared aircraft in the Luftwaffe's history, the P-47 Thunderbolt was proof that sometimes, in a war of attrition, it's the plane that can take the most punishment and dish out the most destruction that wins. And in the end, the sky belonged to America.